going on, Essential Unit? It's Essential Man here, so back again with another classic WWE pay-per-view review. Keeping the Survivor Series train going. The last review was Survivor Series 1999 in the Attitude Era. So I'm traveling 14 years into the future to the PG era in 2013. Oh boy, WWE in 2013. The Authority era in the second half of that year. Anyway, I'm going to review Survivor Series 2013 at the TD Gardens in Boston, Massachusetts on the 24th of November 2013. The attendance for the show was 13,500 and the buy rate for Survivor Series 2013 is 179,000 pay-per-view buys. This is the lowest buy rate Survivor Series since 1995 because that show got about 128,000 pay-per-view buys. Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and JBL on commentary. I'm going to start with the kickoff show match. The kickoff show match, we got The Miz taking on Kofi Kingston. So, on the go-home show to Raw, The Miz turned on Kofi Kingston in a tag team match against the Real Americans. The Miz, he's not really officially a heel yet. He's on his way as a heel because he turned babyface the following year in 2012. It was a flop. You could tell he's on his way. Anyway, the match was decent. It was fast paced. It was a good match. In the end, Kofi was going for like the SOS, but Miz counted into a roll up to score the victory. And then afterwards, he was about to shake Kofi's hand. Kofi slapped him in the face and left. Miz, like I said, he's not really a heel yet. He turned heel in the summer of 2014. He became this actress, movie star. He's still doing this gimmick to this day. You with Damien Mizdow. That's another topic for another time. Anyway, so the first before we get to the first match of the main show, we got the Authority, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. They talk about the main event of the show, the WWE Championship match. I'll get to it later on. It said about the match will be no interference. Anyway, the first match to kick off the main show of Survivor Series, we got the men's Survivor Series match. We got Rey Mysterio, the Usos, and the Rhodes Brothers taking on the Real Americans. That is Jack Swagger. Right now he's Jake Hager in AEW, part of the Inner Circle, Antonio Cesaro. And then you got three members of The Shield, the United States Champion at the time, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Seb Coulter, the Real Americans manager, he got a promo on Boston because this is I think it's the same place as the Boston Tea Party. Talk about like these days, people are on their cell phones and twerking, and Cody cut him off about no one cares about your saying and your twerking. And I think like Seb Coulter also took a jab at the Red Sox, mentioning David Ortiz. Anyway, the match is, for me, this is match of the night. This is the Roman Reigns match. This match truly put Roman Reigns on the map. He eliminated 4 guys in one Survivor Series match. He eliminated, I think it's one of the Uso. I think he eliminated 2 of the Uso twins, Goldust and Rey Mysterio, to become a solo survivor. And you got the first person who got eliminated was Dean Ambrose, and then I think it was Jack Swagger. I almost say Jake Hager, but Jack Swagger at the time. Swagger, he eats the 619 by Rey Mysterio. I think it was Jimmy O'Jay did a frog splash onto Swagger to eliminate him. Cesaro was doing the Cesaro swing on both the Uso brothers. At the time, you could tell the fans really starting to get behind Cesaro. He's still a heel. You could tell like the swing he was doing really getting him over. He still do the swing to this day. I think Cody eliminated Cesaro. And then I think Cody got eliminated by Seth Rollins. I think it was Rollins. I think it was the curb stomp. You know, you didn't really call it the curb stomp at the time. This was like when after the Shield, broke up. You know, that'll be in 2014 anyway. And then Mysterio eliminated Rollins, and then Rollins and Reigns beat down Mysterio after Rollins got eliminated. So yeah, Roman Reigns was the sole survivor. And by the way, this is the Shield. This is 1 year anniversary of the Shield because the Shield was formed. Really, the previous Survivor Series, he interfered in that main event between CM Punk, Ryback, and John Cena for the WWE Championship. Anyway, it's a really star-making performance for Roman Reigns. It's very funny, like, 2 months later he broke Kane's record, of the most eliminations in a Royal Rumble match. I don't want to talk about Brock Lesnar. Yeah, it'll be years later, broken by Brock Lesnar in 2020, and you can tell like. He was getting over, starting to get behind, cheered, and then you're funny that in the next couple of years, you can tell that dude's been rumming down everybody's throats. You can see right now, in the present day, Roman Reigns, you can tell he's starting in his career renaissance, sorry, that's American, the Americans call it renaissance, we call it renaissance. In his transformational career, doing the whole, heel Roman, the tribal chief, he's starting to be, organically as a heel. You can tell, like, the next, 2015, you can tell he's going to get the John Cena treatment, anyway. So, yeah, it was match of the night, the Men's Survivor Series match. It was a solid opener. Afterwards, the show went downhill ever since. Anyway, the next match, we got Big E Langston defend the Intercontinental Championship against Curtis Axel. So Big E won the title from Axel on the Go Home show to Raw. Anyway, the match was okay. Axel had some offense, but in the end, Big E hit the big ending to win this match and retain the Intercontinental Championship. I really should have done this title change on this show instead of on a Raw. I think they're doing like Raw Premiere. I don't know why they're doing Raw Premiere. I don't want to get into it. It's just whatever. Okay, and then we got the second Survivor Series match. This is for the women, or the Divas at the time. We got the Total Divas taking on the True Divas. You got 7 members of the first season of the Total Divas. Sorry, we got the Bellas, Natalia, Eva Marie, the Funkadactyls. That is Cameron. Right, her real name's was it Ariane? Ariane Andrews and Naomi, and I think did it say Eva Marie and JoJo, JoJo Offerman, and then you got the True Divas. That is at the time the Divas champion AJ Lee, Tamina Snuka, Summer Rae, Rosa Mendez, Alicia Fox, Caitlyn, and Oksana. Unfortunately, it's not on the same level as the men's Survivor Series match. It was wrong. It was shit. It was basically rush eliminations. It was just fast paced. It says elimination after elimination after elimination. This is Caitlyn's final pay-per-view in her first run of the company. I don't think she paid. Yeah, that was her last run in the company because in the following February in 2014, she had her final appearance was at main event against AJ Lee, and she was gone for the company for the next 4 years. She came back, years later, be part of the Mae Young Classic. She's, Caitlyn Celeste Bonin. She's basically, I compare her to Kristen Richter. The actress plays Jessica Jones in the Netflix show. She just like her. She got, I'm talking about, Caitlyn Celeste Bonin right now. She has they both got pale skin. They got raven hair. They both got green eyes. The difference is, Caitlyn right now, she has a tattoo around her left or right arm. Anyway, in the end, the sole survivors are, I think it was Nikki Bella and Natalia. Natalia eliminated both Tamina and AJ Lee. She gets a shot at the Divas Championship, and she lost against AJ Lee the following month at TLC. So, I cover Survivor Series 2020, because the women's match at that show, and talking about the Survivor Series 2020 show, that was because no one got over in that match. And similar to this match, who truly got over? No one, Because basically at this time, because the following, just past summer of 2013, it was the start of the TV show Total Divas. They've been doing it ever since. To this day, they're still running down our throats, you know. I used to watch Total Divas. I like it when Paige is in it. You know, you got like, you know, Bella's, Eva Marie, JoJo Offerman. You know, she was no longer a wrestler. She became a ring announcer. She was good as a ring announcer. Eva Marie was terrible. She got booed, and you know, Natalia, you know, and then you got like future people will be in Total Divas like Alicia Fox and Rosa Mendez and Summer Rae. Anyway, it was not, yeah, that was not a good match. And then we got another bad match. We got Ryback taking on the return of Mark Henry. Basically, Ryback's doing the whole bully gimmick. He's doing this open challenge. Mark Henry basically accept Ryback's open challenge. And this was Mark Henry's first appearance since the summer, because reports at the time he suffered like a hamstring injury. And also he shaved his head. He's still the bull Mark Henry to this day, you know. He already shows up like doing the Arnold Classics in America. I think it's the Arnold Strongman Classic in America. And he's now got a grey beard. Anyway, match sucks. This is they had a match at WrestleMania 29 that year. That was not good. This match is not good. Two big guys going at it. You know, Mark Henry's an okay worker, but he's past his best. You know, he lost so much momentum. You know, I don't want to get into it. Another topic for another time. That's my buzzwords. Every time I bring up some topic, I keep saying another story, another time. Anyway, Ryback was never that good as a worker. They don't really play into Ryback's strengths. You know, he's basically just, I don't know. You know, just put him in long matches. You know, trying to play for his strengths. You know, what makes Ryback good? You know, got him over in 2012. Anyway, Mark Henry got the victory with the World's Strongest Slam onto Ryback to score the victory. Ryback lost twice to Mark Henry. It's just like I don't want to get into it. Ryback should have won at WrestleMania. You know, at this point, he was not getting over. He's babyface thing, he's not working, and then turn him in heel, did not work. The bully gimmick's not doing him any favors, and being Paul Heyman's guy, I don't mind being Paul Heyman's guy, and Ryback's all never worked, and then, you know, turning babyface, same, not working, the same at IC title reign in 2015, not working, and then heel again in 2016, his final year in his run before he got fired, or actually released. You know, I don't know. I think they missed the boat on Ryback, you know. I don't want to get into it. Another story for another time. The match sucked. It was a bit boring. So moving on to the World Heavyweight Championship match. We got John Cena defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Alberto Del Rio. So the build up to this, John Cena came back in the autumn after he took the summer off. You know, he lost the WWE Championship to Daniel Bryan because he suffered a tricep injury. And, you know, Del Rio was on the run as the world champion. You know, Cena came back, you know, at Hell in a Cell, defeating Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. The weeks to build up to the match of Survivor Series, Cena just buried Damien Sandow. You know, Sandow attempt to cash in his money about briefcase and failed success to win the world title. Cena just beat him. That's another bury for John Cena. I don't want to get into it. So weeks, Del Rio working on the injured arm of John Cena. You know, hitting him with the chair, locking him in the cross-arm breaker. Anyway, so and the conclusion when Cena's match with Del Rio at Hell in a Cell that year and Survivor Series that year, of course Cena's going to win. You know, everyone knows Cena's going to win the title against Del Rio at Hell in a Cell. He's going to retain it. This is in Boston, Massachusetts. I think it was the first Survivor. I think it's the same arena since the 2008 Survivor Series. You know, when Cena won the title from Jericho. And the fans were booing John Cena. There were a lot of signs says, you know, Cena sucks, anti-Cena Nation. You know, Cena Nation, sorry. They're basically, you know, you can tell Cena is the fucking guy. He's the top guy in the company. He's been the top guy for 8 years. He's been shoved down everybody's throats. They were trying. This was a lot. This is loud. It's not on the same level as, you know, Cena's match with RVD at One Night Stand 2006 or, his match with CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. It's, you can still, there was a loud "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants. Anyway, the match was decent. It was okay, but the typical like I said, everyone knows Cena's going to win because the near falls don't mean shit. Del Rio, I think Del Rio a little. I don't think Del Rio worked on the arm a bit. So what's the point? For weeks attacking the injured John Cena. What's the point? I think maybe a little bit, but not a lot. So anyway, it's totally against the storyline. Throwing the storyline throwing it in the bin. In the end, Del Rio was trying to go in for the cross arm breaker. Cena just picked him up, slammed him, hit the AA, and Cena wins. It's predictable. This is the time that people are getting sick of John Cena. I don't want to get into it. I did a rant on John Cena last year when I started this channel. As for Del Rio never got a shot at the world title ever again. He'll basically he'll be in the WWE Championship tournament at Survivor Series 2 years later on the same show. I think he got eliminated by Roman Reigns in the semifinals. Del Rio never really touched the world title scene ever again in WWE. Yeah, he was a world champion in TNA/GFW. Fuck that. I hate that GFW shit. I no disrespect. I was kind of tuning out of GFW/TNA because Jarrett, fucking Del Rio shoved down my throat. They were Swaggy, Hornswoggle feeding with fucking Rockstar Spud. It's just like, fuck me, man. No just about Impact Wrestling. I still watch Impact Wrestling, but that stuff in 2017, yes, some bright spots, but mostly the negatives. Jarrett and fucking Del Rio. Come on. Come on. I think he interfered in Morrison's match with Eli Drake. They give him a push. It's good to see Eli Drake in that push, but Del Rio, give me a fucking break. He attacked fucking Paige. Anyway, in the end of his first run of the company, he didn't do much. I think he lost to Sin Cara. He didn't pin in the Rumble. He was in this meaningless feud with Batista. He had a match at the Elimination Chamber. Did appear at WrestleMania 30 in the battle. I think at the Battle Royal, and then he was gone in the summer for attacking a backstage crew. He came back in 2015 at Hell in a Cell. 2 years later, defeated John Cena for the United States title. That was okay, but they were doing the whole part of the League of Nations, Mets America thing. That was totally flopped. Anyway, so moving on to the next match. The next match, we got CM Punk and Daniel Bryan taking on the two members of the Wyatt family. That is Luke Harper, right now is Brody Lee in AEW, and Eric Rowan. So the Wyatts debuted in the main roster in the summer of 2013. I think they had a feud with Kane, and then Miz and Kofi Kingston, and now with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Weeks they're beating down Punk and Bryan to set up this match on the show. The match was the second best match of the show, but it didn't save the show. The show was shit so far. With the Biggie and Curtis Axel was okay, but it was okay, but nothing special. The Divas match was shit. It wasn't bad. I think like I said, the Survivor Series 2020 match with the women, that was shit. It was just typical, really quick eliminations. It was like a piss break match, and then Mark Henry Ryback was Cena and Del Rio was decent. It was alright. It was a slightly 3 stars. It was so predictable that John Cena is going to retain the title. So anyway, this was second best match of the night. It was a bit boring, but they kind of picked up into the second gear. It was typical big versus small. Punk is not small. You got like Brody Lee's. I think he's about 6'5". I know it's Luke Harper back then, but Luke Harper is 6'5". Eric Rowan is 6'8". CM Punk he's tall. CM Punk's tall. He's 6'2". Daniel Bryan's about 5'10". He's about below 6 foot. Anyway, the play, it's typical big versus small. Punk and Bryan, they're fast, doing the fast, the very fast pace. Rowan and Harper are basically bit, big man moves. Harper's good. Harper's good. Rowan, no, not so good. I think one more of the match, CM Punk did like a diving elbow. They were chanting Randy Savage, Randy Savage. I think the reason why he's doing that to pay tribute to Randy Savage. It's been 2 years since he died. He was one of the best legends in the ring. Anyway, one more in the match, he did Punk did a move off the top rope and laid it onto both. I think it was on Rowan and Bray Wyatt. In the end, I think did Brian hit? I think Brian hit like a running knee onto Rowan, and Punk hit like the GTS onto Harper to win this match. And then afterwards, they kind of like muddy up the storyline. Or actually the rivalry between, the Wyatts and Bryan and Punk. I think at this point they call it, best and beard. You got CM Punk's best in the world, and Daniel Bryan has a beard. And afterwards, they kind of muddied up the rivalry between Wyatt and Punk and Bryan. You had the Shield added up into that rivalry, and they end up at TLC. Punk was feuding with the Punk was feuding with the Shield. And Bryan will end up with the Wyatt family. They had 2 separate matches at TLC. Bryan ended up joining the Wyatt family. Sorry, kind of stuttered. He joined the Wyatt family in the beginning of 2014. That was a bad mistake, and ended up breaking away from the Wyatts and then move on to bigger and better things. And Punk, Shield. That was a 1-match feud, and this was one of CM Punk's final matches of. Really, final match of his first run in the company. First and only run in the company. Yeah, he came back, backstage. But he's never came back in WWE television. So far, he's not showing up on a Raw, SmackDown, or even a pay-per-view. He might in the future, but. And it's third last. Survivor Series, TLC, and then the Royal Rumble match before he walked out the following year. So, and also this was Rey Mysterio's second last match of his first run in the company. He had this. I don't really appeared at TLC. He appeared at I think he appeared at the Rumble. Then he was gone. I think he got hurt. Then he got released, and he come back. That was because really funny. His first run started in 2002 in the Ruthless Aggression era and ended in 2014. He had to run in the Indies, in Mexico, self-proclaimed he accidentally killed a wrestler. It was a perfectly timed move, and then he came back in 2018, 2019. I forgot to mention this. Anyway, moving on to the main event. The main event, we got Randy Orton defending the WWE Championship against The Big Show. So, here's the story. Randy Orton turned heel at SummerSlam after Daniel Bryan won the WWE Championship against John Cena. It's the same time Triple H turned heel. First time since 2006. Before the stuff with DX. He's he was a heel doing the whole suits and tie, the authority thing. That was a lot of shit for the last 3 years. 2013 to 2016. I don't want to get into it. So Orton was feuding with Bryan for the championship. Because, Bryan won the title at Night of Champions, but it was basically faked it the next night because of controversial ending. They had the match at Hell in the Cell. Orton won it after the help by Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. And also, Big Show was kind of like doing the Authority's biggin, basically doing, knocking people out, knocking Bryan out, knocking out Dusty Rhodes. That was during the Shield's feud with the Rhodes brothers. I forgot to tell you, they won the tag team titles from the Shield. That was, a month prior. Anyway, Big Show was basically doing the Shield's bidding, trying to knock Triple H out. So basically on a battleground, he knocked both Orton and Bryan out. Then Stephanie fired the Big Show next night on Raw. He showed up on WWE television, wearing street clothes, and then his friend to sue. He knocked out Triple H the same night he got fired. I thought it was leading up to a match between Big Show and Triple H. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I'll talk about it a little bit shortly. So basically, he's friends to sue the company, and then he got reinstated, and he wants a WWE Championship match against Randy Orton, trying to become the face of the company. Was it face of WWE? That is the buzzword of WWE at the time. So, anyway, it's just like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, the match completely. The match sucked. The main event sucked. You know, they had a match in. They had this is Ronaldo rivalry because they had a feud way back in the spring of 2013. This was after Big Show turned on Orton and Sheamus after the match against the Shield at WrestleMania 29. So, and Orton won the match at Extreme Rules, put him in the head. Big Show took some time off. Vicky suffered a shoulder injury, came back in the autumn, and this thing with the Authority. Anyway, match sucked. The crowd do not care. I think they're quiet. They're not really into it because it's so predictable that Big Show is not Big Show. It's predictable that Orton's going to win. It's so predictable. And anyway, and Orton was doing the taunt every time. This is during his heel run. In 2013, every time he does like taunts, he's kind of like doing this with his ear, listen to the boos, and I think one more in the match he did a double bicep pose. It's Randy Orton. Anyway, I think they kind of fully booked him as a heel. Like Orton's better off being this bloodthirsty heel. Going back to 2007, 2009. With being part of Legacy, breaking Batista's arm and punching people in the head. Anyway, so Big Show, they were fighting in the crowd. I think the referee got knocked out. That's why there's no double count out. Big Show knocked Orton outside the ring. I think he was about to win, but instead you got Authority showing up. They say at the start of the show there was no interference in the WWE Championship match. This match, unfortunately, lying to themselves, they interfered. In the end, Orton hit the RKO onto Big Show, punted him in the head. And Orton won this match. What a fucking waff. It wasn't a clusterfuck. I can't say it's the worst main event of all time. There's been a lot of worse Survivor Series main events ended bad. I don't want to get into it. It'd be a very long video. Anyways, so Big Show didn't do nothing afterwards. I think he took some time off. And then he showed up feuding with Brock, a meaningless feud with Brock Lesnar. And then, really funny, 1 year later at Survivor Series 2014, he turned on John Cena and joined the Authority. So what's the point? What the point is that? Why is this the point? It's kind of bullshit, man. He's like, I wish they just did Big Show and Triple H. I know it might not end up be a good match, but it makes more sense. What's the point Big Show knocking out Triple H in the first place? I don't get it. I totally don't get it. It's just like Big Show. It's just a one-off feud. I know it's just a filler feud because he just wrapped up the feud with Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. He'll be back. Bryan will be back in the title picture in the early portions, the first quarters of 2014. Extreme Rules 2014 and WrestleMania 30. That's another story for another time. Anyway, and it ended the show with John Cena came out. Both Orton and Cena raises both championships because Cena is the world champion at the time. Orton is the WWE champion at the time. So it set up the unification match, a TLC. I think it was a TLC unification match at TLC. Orton will win it. And by the way, this is the final pay-per-view with 2 world championships until the Royal Rumble of 2017, 4 years later in the second brand split. So, that's a good. This is a one note I just got to tell you. Anyway, so my final rating for Survivor Series 2013. Oh boy. This is difficult. I thought it's going to be the worst of all time, but it wasn't a worst of all time. This is a lackluster, mediocre Survivor Series. I say worst of the decade. I say about Survivor Series 2010, this show, Survivor Series 2015, 2018, not really 2016, 2017. They were good. Anyway, so, boy, let's see. I'm going to give it 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. I was giving it. I don't really give it 5 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it 4. 4 out of 10. It's appropriate rating. So, on the good, these are in the good. You don't have some of the matches are good, but it wasn't enough to save the show or go, wow, I need to watch the show again. No, they were good. I think the match of the night for me has to be the men's Survivor Series match. That really put Roman on the map. Eliminated 4 members in one Survivor Series match. And Punk, Bryan versus Harper and Rowan. That was good. That was fun. Cena and Del Rio. It was decent, but it's so predictable. Slightly decent, actually. In the OK, there was only properly one in the OK. Actually, I'm gonna throw Miz in it. Actually, I put Miz there. That was fun. You know, I put Miz and Kofi in the kickoff show match in the good. So you got 4 good. You got 1 in the OK. The 1 in the OK has to be, you know, Big E versus Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental Championship. It was okay, but I wish they did the title change on the show in a hot crowd in Boston. And a lot of crap on the show. A lot. You know, basically you got the Women's Survivor Series match. You know, it's not on the same level as the Survivor Series women's match from right now. I just covered, you know, in the early hours of today. You know, that was just bad booking. This match back then in 2013. It was just a rapid elimination match. It was a piss break. No one gives a fuck. Right back in Mark Henry was boring, and you know Randy Orton Big Show was just shit. It's just a shit main event. So, boy, actually, you know what? Fuck it, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. You know, it's a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't good and great. It wasn't bad and ugly. It was just a ups and down mixed bag show. You have some good. You have some good, but at the same time, you have some bad. So. Anyway, so yeah, it wasn't, you know, it's just 50-50, you know, and some people don't really some people, you know, why you put the, you know, Miz and Kofi in the good. It was a good match, you know, instead I'll give it 4 out of 10. I'll give it 5 out of 10. Yeah, I'll give it 5 out of 10, you know, 50-50 for what it is. So anyway, so that's my review of Survivor Series 2013. Leave the thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, and subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Next time, you know, this is a bonus Survivor Series. You know, I'm trying to end this month with another Survivor Series. You know, I did 2 in the Golden Era, you know, the late 80s and the early 90s. I did 1 in the Attitude Era, 1 in the PG Era. Let's review 1 in the Ruthless Aggression Era. Haven't gone into that Ruthless Aggression Era archives for a very long time. The last one I did was SummerSlam in 2005. That was way back this past summer. I'm not going to tell you what Ruthless Aggression Era Survivor Series I'm going to review. You got to wait and find out. So, this is Essential Man officially signing out. Check you later.